Welcome to Vision Plus, a program featuring a positive outlook, dealing with everyday situations of marriage, children, and business. Believing Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Teacher, author, speaker, delighting audiences from New York to Sacramento with a heart and message for the people today. Bonnie would like to remind you of the 800 number on the screen. Please feel free to call at any time throughout the broadcast and share your concerns. Leave your prayer request and someone will pray with you. And now, teacher, author, and speaker, Bonnie.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Vision Plus. Without a vision, the people perish. We want to have a vision for 2011. I think that so many people are excited about what appears to be just a little upgrading on the economy, and perhaps the healthcare is going to be different than what we thought it was in January of 2010. But we are happy that you have joined us, and I am so excited about what's happening today. For the first time in many years, at least a dozen or a decade, I'm getting to see, so many of you know Emily Libhart, our daughter that was a Russian interpreter. Well, her very best friend was Susan Soule, who is now Susan Soule Cagna, and she lives in near Nashville. We'll let you learn a little bit about that. But she was such a great influence on Emily in her Christian life, and I want you to meet her and what's been going on in the last dozen years. Hello and welcome again, Susan, to come back again. Now, Emily, as you know, was one of her dear friends, and I know you, your mom and dad were on. Tell us a little bit about all the things about your mom and dad and Linda and yourself growing up.
That's when we all were theater arts. We worked in the ballet. I don't remember not taking a ballet class. I grew up in the theater. My dad did the sound, and my mom did the costumes. And now Mom's 83 years old, and she just looks fabulous. She exercises.
Oh,
and they named a room after her at the ballet school, the Soule Foundation, the Betty Soule seamstress room.
Oh, that's so exciting.
She's sewing here for my little girl as we speak today. They're still very involved in theater. They usher for all the Broadway theater leagues. They're senior ushers, but they get to see
I probably have seen her and didn't realize it was your mom.
And they really
That was the usher.
Yeah.
Such a delightful person. I do remember that you married, actually about, Emily was already at home in heaven when you married, and you married this really handsome guy. Now you got Sarah, who is Miss Tennessee, and this lady, Susan Cagna, she's, well, tell us about the Miss before marriage. Go ahead.
Well, in probably 2002, there's different organizations out there that you can help and have a word, you can talk, you can speak, but I was praying one day, and the Lord asked me to enter a pageant. I thought, no, I'm not into the pageant world, but there are organizations and different systems that promote your platform and not just a crown collector. And so it was in my heart to do something that I could have some doors open to go and to talk to children, which is on my heart to do, and to pray for them. And this wonderful director said, you can have a Christ-centered platform.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm going to enter this one. And I won the Tennessee, and then I went on to win the national.
It's called Miss Tennessee
U.S. Beauties.
U.S. Beauties. Okay, now this is, were all the people married that are in this one?
They have different divisions.
Oh, different
They had
divisions.
teen at the time, a Miss and a Mrs. division. So I came in at the married division. You know, we had some great couples. We met. Tom also had to compete with me on stage. He was interviewed.
Really?
Yes, it's a very big team effort. He's very good. I was
Very
jealous
handsome
almost. He is.
And then you won the whole United States for representing the whole United States, and did what after that?
Well, it was kind of surreal because I was the last one called, and you know you kind of win after first runner-up is called. And it wasn't, oh, I won, look at me. It was like immediately I felt the Holy Spirit say, you have a job to do now. I'm like, yes, sir. Got the gown on, and I was booking my appointments to reach kids at the hospitals.
Did they do that for you? Or did
At local, they did what they could, but I also made my own. So it was an avenue where I could call and go to St. Jude's, Vanderbilt. They have a queen for the day. We go in, you dress the little girls up as princesses and put crowns, and cancer patients and different things. They don't have much hope. But when you go in and say, you can do anything you want to do. You want to take art lessons or piano? Let's go hook up afterwards and let's do that. Let's get that first lesson in. And you're so brave doing these treatments. And their eyes just, I'm brave.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that because of make sure the camera picked up what you said. It's so important.
Okay. Well, about going into...
Yes, and tell them that you can do what you want to do.
Yes, you can definitely do. I go in, and I couldn't say, I'm Christian, I'm going in to preach the gospel, because hospitals are very protective over the religious background of each of their patients. So I had a helper come in, and I could tell if I could talk to them or not. And I would tell some of the little girls, and boys too, and I have a situation, a little boy that was Latin American. We went to Texas Children's Hospital. It was thousands of kids, similar to St. Jude, but different. It wasn't just cancer, it was different diseases that they specialized in. And I spoke to this little boy who ignored me because I had a crown and sash on. I think I scared him. I kind of came in as a costume person. And I told him that he was brave, and that I was so proud of him going through the treatments he had to do alone sometimes, and all the shots and needles that he had to go through. I said, I am so proud of you, and I just encourage you to go and do and be what you want to be. You can take lessons. People can help you take your first piano lesson. If it was a little girl, your first ballet class. You can do that if you want to. Don't let anyone tell you you can't, because you're going to get out of here. You're going to be healed. I'm going to pray for you to be healed. And I would do that. And this one little boy that I mentioned to you earlier before the show, as I left, I didn't think he wanted me in there, but as I left, my partner that was with me said that he turned around to look at me, and he was crying because he probably had had no family, nobody in there to say anything nice to him except, give me your arm, let's find a vein.
I'm about to cry just thinking about the people that were touched. Well, tell us some more stories. And that was Texas. What part of Texas?
That was Houston.
Houston.
I stayed with my girlfriend.
Your friend and our daughter Emily Dawn went to Christ for the Nations in Texas and started learning Russian there.
Yes.
But so I love anything that happens in Texas. But where all did you go, Susan?
I had a friend in Los Angeles. I went up to Ohio, Children's Hospital in Ohio, went to Children's Texas in Ohio. Was it not Ohio? I forget. Houston, Texas, and Vanderbilt University. Went to their children's because they're very big in Nashville, where I live. I went there often. I went there once a month and got to stay with the kids. I went to Huntsville where my parents lived. So I tried to go to places where family was and friends, and so I could visit and have my platform in ministry with the pageant. And in Huntsville, I have a place for children and women. Children's shelters. I went to try and visit and minister to the children wherever I could. But those were the main states I went. Before my year was over, it went very fast.
Right, I bet it did.
Yes.
And now you were working at a church in Nashville. Well, tell us about that episode, and then when Miss Sarah came along.
Yes, I worked.
Who is now Miss Tennessee.
Yes, she is 8 years old, and she is our little Miss Tennessee for age division 7 to 9. But 8 years ago, before I had her, I worked at Forest Hills Baptist Church, which I was a secretary, receptionist, kind of did every little thing, in the office there. It was off of Old Hickory Boulevard. Everybody knows that exit if they're in Nashville. But I worked underneath 2 pastors until I had Sarah. Then I became a stay-at-home mom. And it was busier than working, actually. Even with one child, I thought, oh, I should have done this a little younger. Oh, I got no sleep, the deprivation. I thought, how do people do this? But it inspired me to see mothers with 3 or 4 kids. I'm just like, oh, how do they do it? But I got through that the first, 6 months of being a mom, and then I started loving it. I got more sleep, got a routine down with Sarah. And I wanted to still do something. So I had been in the modeling field for a long time, even when I was in Huntsville, when I knew Emily. But, you know, it's just kind of hobby in Huntsville because there's not that many shows. There might be fall or spring show. That a long time ago we used to have Castronauts. I used to model for Castronauts, which is now Dillard's in town. And I decided to see if I could do some modeling to you know, make some extra money. It's still a smaller market in Nashville, a little bit bigger than Huntsville, but Atlanta, Miami, and New York are your bigger. Los Angeles are your bigger markets for that. But they have lifestyle.
I think you were invited to go to Atlanta. In fact, didn't you go to?
It was Los Angeles. It was Los Angeles. Yes, and that was before I knew Emily. I think it was when I was just out of high school. I went there for 3 years and learned how to model and did some shows and did some print work. Came back home, and that's when I met the Lord. And I decided to be a model for Christ.
How did that come about that you met the Lord?
My sister told me the simple gospel. My middle sister, Beth.
Oh, Beth. Okay.
Yes. She told me she had just received the Lord in her life. She said, Susan, if you go home on that airplane and something happens and that the airplane crashes, where are you going to go? Of course, at that time, my eyes rolled and I said, I don't know. You know, why are you pressuring me? It's Christmas time. But she said that you need to ask Jesus in your heart. No, I went to church all my life and no one told me you need to have a relationship with Christ. It was the simple words of you need Jesus in your heart, and my heart was ready. I received it. I just had to hear it. You know, people don't think, oh, well, she's not going to listen to me. You don't ever know the condition of anyone's heart when they need something. And I needed Christ. I was alone in L.A. trying to make it big like so many people do, and I was lonely and hurting, and I needed that message. And I went home in my parents' bathroom, knelt down by the air vent and asked Lord. I didn't have a prayer. It wasn't a sinner's prayer. I didn't even know what that was. And asked the Lord, I said, if you're real, Lord, I said, I need you in my life. And all of a sudden this heat came from the top of my head and rushed through my body, and there's a cleansing that took place. And the room wasn't there anymore, but scripture came up in front of my eyes. And I was like, I was in Matthew, and it talked about receiving Jesus as Lord. It scared me, and I went down, I saw the page number. I thought, I wonder if that's that little Bible my grandmother gave me. It was a little red New Testament only that she had highlighted the way to Christ, and I never got it. My eyes weren't open to it. But I said, I wonder if that's that little Bible in my closet with dust on it. I ran into my old little girl's closet, opened it up, and pulled that little thin New Testament out, flipped to that page, and sure enough, it was page 23, just that vision the Lord had shown me in the bathroom, and Matthew talking about the Lord receiving Jesus as Lord. And it scared me. I threw that thing across the room. I said, oh, you're real! You even knew about my little Bible in the closet and the page number and everything. And from then on, I was just kind of the Jesus freak. You know, stay away from Susan. She was going to, you know, push the gospel down your throat. But then I learned how to become friends with people first. And then I came home, got baptized, and started the local modeling, clean modeling. I teach girls now. Came on and got married with Tom, and started teaching modeling through a local agency and commercials, and still model off and on in lifestyle when you're above 22.
Now, do you mean lifestyle?
Lifestyle.
Not lifestyle.
Lifestyle is when you're above 22 years old.
Okay, but not the lifestyle live from that's in Franklin. Not
no. This particular one is.
I just want to make the difference.
Yeah, that's not the company, but lifestyle is what they put you in when you're a little bit older. You're not in fashion runway. You're above what they. After 22, they feel like that's too mature to be on the runway anymore, unless you've already are booked and you just stay looking young and thin. Then you remain. But if you start in the modeling field at 22, that's too old nowadays. But you become a lifestyle model, which is for any kind of commercial, any I don't know, products that you sell. You're mostly lifestyle. And then little young kids are lifestyle. And then there's fashion. You're in your teens, you're the fashion teen model, and then you go into lifestyle again. And that's what I did and trained girls for. And then as I did that, it was sporadic income, and I prayed during a nap one time, and the Lord woke me up. This was after I had reigned as a pageant queen for U.S. Beauties. He said, coach as a pageant coach. how do I do that? I know how to walk, but interview. You gave me favor in my interview, Lord, and I called the director, and I knew it had to be God. She goes, if God told you that, I'm going to teach you how to interview for free. And we spent 300 hours on the phone, and she certified me as a pageant coach and interview, runway. I pretty much knew how to do that anyway, but that's what
tell me how, what she taught you in interviewing, because I thought you'd always been great in interviewing. And I know I've interviewed 5,000, but I never did have any formal training for interviewing, even though I sure did interview a lot of people. So what did she teach you in interviewing?
Well, eye contact, and I still have trouble even with you now. I look down, but when you're interviewing for a position as a queen, it's good to look in the left eye, which is my right eye, if I was looking at you, because that's the eye we look through. It's the dominant eye we look through a camera lens with.
Yeah.
And there's a better focus and connection made when you look into the right eye. So I teach them that, and I teach them to keep their hands quiet. And, to stay lifted, don't lean back on the chair, or just stay lifted so you can hear the judge. And then when you answer, don't look in the corners of the room or down. Just look and answer in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them to keep it to 3 points on a question. Don't be too general, such as, what's your favorite place to go in the summer vacation? Here's a general answer. Oh, I love to go to the beach, shopping, and out to dinner. Well, we image everything. When someone talks to us, we try to imagine what they're saying. It's just the way our brain works. So we try to imagine our own experience in Florida. Where would we go? And they don't remember that person. But if I say, I love to go to Panama City or to Destin, get into that white sand with my feet right where the water comes up, get some iced tea and a good book and put on my hat, lay back and relax, that's what I love to do. Immediately that judge is following me in my story, and they remember it. That's the girl that relaxes on the beach. That was a relaxing conversation. So I teach them to detail, get a little bit more personal in their answers. The judge remembers, because we are humanly nosy people. We want to know the scoop, especially women. And so if they get a little bit detailed, a little bit personal, the judge will remember that. And you keep it short. 3 areas. Don't go past a minute on your answer. They won't remember you. But that's pretty much what I teach them in their speed. Keep your speed down.
But 300 hours, that's a lot of hours to get certified.
Yeah, we went through a lot of modeling. We went through the different things that they had, the different systems, the styles, the judging, when you judge, what to look for. It encompassed everything about being a coach.
What do you look for when you're judging?
The wow factor. You want someone who is not nervous, who is confident. You can tell if they're just searching for a crown. This is their 10th system, and I'm just trying to win them all. Or if they have a passion to speak out for their particular platform. And you want to promote someone that wants the job to change the world, that's the one you want. But then there's the other competitions. Do they care about their health? Are they healthy? Is their skin healthy? Are they going to be a good representative for the organization which you're judging for? Do they have character? So you look at that in their resume and you try to ask questions to get to know them. What are you going to do if you win? Why should I pick you? Those that answer, that have a passion and that have eye contact with me, they're going to be a good representative for the director that I'm judging for. Because they're not with me, they're with her the whole year. And she's all, please look for someone with character and integrity that's going to be on time for my events.
That's one of the things, on time, I'm sure. But what do you look for? How can you discern their character?
It usually comes across with the kind of questions I ask. When I judge, I ask, why should I pick you?
And why should you? Well, what do they answer? Give me an example of good answers and bad answers.
When they want it bad enough, they'll tell me, you should pick me because I'm going to be the best representative for this system. I will be on time for my events. I will have passion and eye contact. I will be there early. I want this event because I'm going to be a good mentor for other women and children my age. If you pick me, I'm going to be the best representative for this company or for this particular pageant system. And when they're confident but not,
narcissist.
Yeah, that when they're not too haughty, but they're confident and direct, and they speak well, their tones are clear, They focus, they talk with me with their eyes, they have body language, they are beautiful on stage when they present themselves in their gown. I do swimwear too, but most of the time it's for Mrs. divisions. They kind of come away, they do sportswear or casual wear. If they model well and they're confident on stage and in front of me, they have the wow factor and they score high, and usually they'll come away with the crown.
What would be a bad answer?
A bad answer is, I don't know. I really want to try to win every system that I go to.
They need to be more specific and have passion.
Yeah, passion. Yeah.
And for you, it was children. The not well children. Now, where do you think that came from? Because you and your sisters and your parents are just like the epitome of perfection.
Well, with the children, it came from because I taught ballet when I was even in Huntsville with the kids, and I was trying to have, we had just had a baby, and we had tried to have Sarah for 4 years, and so children were on my heart. And then the Lord kind of, when He has a gifting or calling in you, starts to massage it in your heart. When you get around kids, like, kids used to annoy me when I was younger, but now all I want to do is just get in their face and tell them, you can do this. Because I know those little words, those little seeds that were planted in me by great dancers that would come and stay at my mom and dad's house. We would host them. And I remember this one sweet girl from France. Her name was Jocelina. And she said, Susan, never stop the drawing. You're a good artist. Always draw. Here I was trying to get ballet compliments from her, and because I danced, she just never stop drawing. When I stop drawing or haven't done it well, I'll immediately remember what Jocelina said. Don't stop drawing.
So I wish you'd have brought some of your artwork with you. We'll have to do another time when you have some of the artwork with you.
But that little seed, I thought, I could do that. I can plant so many seeds in these kids' heart that when they would go away astray, they would remember what I told them and go the right way.
That's so true. I can remember teachers that would say something. You can do this. When I was so little, they had to stand me on a table to run for song leader. Not that I was a great, I could sing that great, but I was good at leading because my daddy had done that as all my life. He would teach what we call singing schools back in Arkansas. But and it was somebody that said, you can do this. Because I had these big brown blotches of freckles and red hair down to my waistline.
Yeah, that's freckly.
Oh, I don't see any. But that is amazing. So what you said to this little boy and to others, do you have a story about a little girl maybe that you feel like you touched?
There was. I also teach sporadically Christ-centered manners at my church.
Oh,
and I teach them how to walk and talk there too, because you can kind of incorporate walking and talking in anything. If it's pageants or if it's just being mannered at home or going to school or public outings. And she was a little girl that she was adopted from China. So I have a little boy adopted from Russia.
Yes, you do. I was going to get into Alex's story.
After Sarah, Alex was, we adopted him about 5 years later. And I had mentioned that we adopted a little boy, and she has adopted from China, and her eyes crossed, but I don't know what it was called, but they bounced, the eyes bounce. And so she would never look up. She would just do this all the time because of her, people made fun of her. Yeah. And that just breaks a child's heart.
Oh, yeah.
It breaks Sarah's heart because she has glasses. And, she got the state title even with her glasses on.
Oh, she did?
Yes.
She didn't wear contacts or?
Not yet. She just had that, we talked about eye surgery that hopefully in a few years she can come out of them and wear contacts now. But she's gone through.
That's so exciting.
Yes.
And years ago they called, I remember a girl that called Four Eyes, and it's been a bunch of years ago.
They don't
but how horrendous that is.
Yes, and this little girl's eyes would bounce, so she didn't look up. And I told her, I said, look up at my face. And she would do this a little bit and look down because she was embarrassed. I said, no, look up at my face. I said, you have beautiful eyes. They dance. I said, don't you put your head down anymore. And don't listen to what people say. I said, you hold your head up and let's learn how to walk. And I taught her, she was a little bit, feet turned in, a little bit pigeon-toed. And we taught her how to walk on the balance beam, and just to turn the feet out just a little bit. And she started walking. I said, no, now lift your chest up. Okay, she's lift her chest up. And she started to walk you know, and lift her chest up. Now put your chin up, and now lift your eyes up. And she lifted her chin up, her eyes up. I said, now I don't want ever that you to look down again. I said, but you are beautiful. You keep your face up and you keep your eyes focused on people and don't care what they think, because God's got a special plan for you, or you would not have been adopted into an American family in church with me talking to you right now. That little girl's confidence went berserk. She was so excited. She came out, Mommy, I'm going to hold my head up from now on. I'm going to look at people when I talk. And I, you know, just my words changed her life, you know, from
Forever.
Forever.
We're
hoping.
Yes, it will. I'm sure it
Yeah.
will. I'm sure it will. Well, you have, honestly, the most beautiful skin in the world, I do
Oh,
believe.
thank you.
And just your hair and the way you walk, sit, and stand. I want to ask you, what do you think that you do that maybe I could do, old enough to be not your mother's age, but close? What could you, because you told me she's still very beautiful.
She is.
And I'm sure that Beth and Linda are too, with
I
your
think
influence.
so. I think so.
Linda's always been beautiful, and
Yes.
anyway, because I knew her many years ago.
Yeah.
And is it her son or Beth's son that has that now has a band?
It's Beth. Beth's
Beth.
oldest son is now
Really
he
good
tours
looking guy.
Yes,
Whoa,
he is
I
single.
saw him on the internet.
Gabe LaRose.
Yeah,
Check him out. It's great.
But what do you think that you are doing? You now work with
I work with some dermatologists
right.
called Rodan and Fields, and they are the first ones to come and get sun damage. They
Something I need from picking cotton and
Yes.
getting my face so red
Yes,
and sunburned.
They have, yes, that product is fabulous. They also have a new patent, first in the world, roller for anti-age that opens the pores. You put serum in that is better
I want to
than
try that.
fill-ins and Botox.
Better than Botox
Yes.
and fill-in, which
Yes.
I call Restylane.
Much
there.
more healthier,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Uh-huh.
And those products are fabulous, and they've taken all my wrinkles away.
I just can't
It's wonderful.
believe.
But it's Rodan and Fields Dermatology, and you can only get it through consultants, but you can
I
go
want to be
online.
one. I want one.
Well, I got
When you
here.
guys see me 6 months.
Before and after.
Before and after. We're
Yeah.
doing before. But I want that.
We're gonna
That
get you all
would be
fixed up, Miss
so
Bonnie.
fun. Oh, that is so exciting. And I understand that there are people that make a, I'm afraid to say it, 7-figure income.
Yes, it is a ground floor.
6-figure and then 7-figure.
I told my friend, I said, I want to be, because there's hardly any consultants, I said, I want to be one of those Mary Kay women that lived in the 70s that now make $1 million a month. I said, that's me.
Oh, that's Susan.
Otherwise,
So what?
if it's the older companies, you know, I just am a consumer, just a consumer.
Okay.
But thank you so much for having me.
Oh, so do you have a website?
I do. I have two.
Go.
It's www.integrity, P is in Paul, C is in cat, .my, M-Y, and A-N-D, but, so slow, integrity.myrandf.com is my skincare. Now, Integrity PC.
Let's go through it again.
Okay.
We got time.
Okay.
Go.
All right, the skincare line is www.integrity.myrandf.com is
Okay.
the skincare.
Oh, our nose ideas can get this. He is so brilliant. And what's the other one?
Another one is integritypageantcoaching.com. So it's Integrity Pageant, Pageant, coaching.com for any kind of interview skills, or I teach from 2 up to in their 60s.
Oh, that go a little above that.
Well, so far.
Along with Susan, Soule, Cagna, I'm Bonnie Liphart with Tony Liphart. Bless your heart for watching.